Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar for the SBIF District Rollout for February 2021. We're just going to let a few more folks join here today, and we'll get started shortly. As a reminder, everybody will be receiving an email following this presentation with a copy of the webinar, as well as a link to watch the video again. Everybody participating today, you are more than welcome to put any questions that you have in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. As a reminder, we'll get started in just a few moments.
Okay, this is Kevin Bargness with the Department of Planning and Development. We are recording this session and it is being broadcast live on YouTube. Kim, I think you can go ahead and get started whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. One more time, as a reminder to everybody, everyone at the end of this call will be receiving an email with a copy of the presentation as well as a link to the video. Everybody is encouraged to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen to ask any questions. We'll be answering them throughout the webinar, as well as having a Q&A session at the end. And now I'm going to turn it over to DPD's Chip Hastings for an introduction.
Thanks, Kim. So first of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here today, for participating in this rollout event, for taking the time out of your busy days to learn more, hear from us about the ways we think we might be able to help. Again, my name is Chip Hastings. I manage the Bureau of Economic Development in the Department of Planning. And I just want to say that we are, as a team, we are really excited about the SBIF program, all of the recent changes that we've made, the improvements that we've put in place. For those of you that aren't aware, we recently received approval for a $60 million 3-year plan for the SBIF program, which included several programmatic improvements that we heard from folks are very important. A couple of them include, we've increased the amount that folks have access to. We've instituted the ability to utilize an escrow account. For those of you pursuing financing, you can access the funds during construction, so you don't have to bridge that through the end of construction, which saves you money, makes your financing easier. We've also made architects, construction project managers, some other technical assistance programs available. So we're really excited about some of the things that we're doing with the program, and we're happy to talk to you all today. And I will say that one of the things we're going to bring today is that we have a message from a very strong supporter, someone that has pushed us to make the program more accessible, more equitable, and even more effective than it has been to date. So with that,
Sylvia, I don't think we're getting the sound here.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, folks. We'll make sure that we include the video message in the email that goes out to all of you following this up. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Manny Flores, who's the president and CEO of SummerCore.
Thank you, Kim. I want to first begin by thanking everyone who's tuning in to this Zoom presentation. I also would like to thank Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Commissioner Maurice Cox, and the entire Department of Planning and Development team for their work and support of small businesses throughout our community. The SBIF program has been one of the primary economic development tools to help small businesses and support neighborhood investments throughout the city of Chicago since 1999. Summer Corps is feels honored and is very fortunate to be part of this program. And we look forward to working with all of you as you move forward with the SBIF application process. What I'd like to do now is introduce you to one of my colleagues, someone who is a big supporter of small businesses and who is the administrator of the SBIF program on behalf of Summer Corps, Sylvia Orozco.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Silvia Orozco, and I am the Program Director for the Small Business Improvement Fund Program. I do want to apologize for the technical difficulties in which the mayor's video did not play. It did play well on my end, but apparently it didn't go through all the way. So I apologize for that. But I am proud to say that I have worked for Summer Corps on the SBIF program for the past 15 years. I've assisted hundreds of existing businesses, landlords, and startups. So please be advised that this is a non-residential program and the grant cannot be used for capital or operating expenses. It is specifically for infrastructure repairs. So I'm excited to announce these new changes with the SBIF program. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so today we will go over what is SBIF, the program mission, our grant parameters. How do we get started? Is my business or my property in a TIF district? Which SBIFs are open and on deck? Do I meet the SBIF eligibility requirements? What are the SBIF program rules? How do I apply? What is the timeline? And what resources are available to help? So we will answer all your questions here as we move forward. The SBIF program was launched in 1999. It's the City of Chicago's Small Business Improvement Fund that promotes economic development by providing small businesses and landlords with reimbursable grants for permanent building improvement cost. So again, residential projects are not eligible. SBIF uses TIF funding revenues to reimburse grantees for pre-approved repairs or rehab of their businesses, facilities, or adjacent acquisitions. Summer Corps is the program administrator, and we are contracted by the City of Chicago's Department of Planning and Development. And at this point, I would like to introduce to you Molly Myers. Molly Myers is a SBIF grant recipient, and she would like to say a few words about her experience with this program.
Thank you, Sylvia. So I'm Molly Meyer, the founder and CEO of Omni Ecosystems. Omni integrates science and design to create working landscapes. That is, we figure out new ways to put nature in, on, and around buildings. And we've invented some ultra lightweight, high stormwater performing soils that we manufacture here in Chicago. And we sell and design and build those soils on rooftops, walls, and contaminated sites around the country. So Omni Ecosystems was a recipient of a $150,000 SBIF grant. 2 years ago, we had outgrown our last location on the near west side, and we began the undertaking of identifying and sorting out the financing for a new headquarters. One of our first calls was to Andrew Fogarty of the Greater Southwest Development Corps. He walked us through funding opportunities that we'd be eligible for. The SBIF grant was by far the most straightforward, and it's just been a great program. Without it, we could not have completed our project. We started off by completing an easy 4-page application. Any questions were quickly answered by Andrew. We had already done a lot of the design and planning work needed to get some of the questions about project scope and budget figured out. And that might have been the only intimidating part of the application. But working with construction professionals and Greater Southwest Development Corps, these can readily be determined. Several weeks after our application was submitted, we heard back from Sylvia at Summer Corps. She was our project manager and has been with us for 2 years. That first email, she sent us a number of other forms to complete about job creation and program roles. And once our grant application was fully approved, we were in regular contact with Sylvia about the project schedule and the progress of our payments to contractors. We had to provide proof of payment for eligible work completed, and then we've received reimbursements as the project progressed. Greater Southwest Development Corps, Summer Corps, Development Corps, Summer Corps, Andrew and Sylvia have been amazing resources. They've guided us through this process to make it straightforward and unintimidating. We at Omni are so grateful for them because their work made our relocation financially possible. And I'll wrap up here with a personal note. My partner and I are Southsiders. We were drawn to Bronzeville for Omni's corporate relocation for many reasons. It has everything that our small business is looking for: access to good transit with L and bus lines for our 30 staff, easy on and off the interstate for truck deliveries for our manufacturing operations, and a great community. As a business owner for 12 years, one thing I've learned over and over is how much I cannot control in this world, even though I really want to. And 2 years ago, when we were choosing the site for our relocation, I realized one thing I can control is where Omni's next 50 jobs will be. And with access to good jobs being a central factor in systemic racism, our relocation is one small thing that I can do to help reverse the historic levels of disinvestment in Bronzeville. So in sum, we found a 98-year-old building with beautiful bones that we envisioned a renewed future for. Our building had no investment in maintenance for 60 years. The facade would have collapsed onto State Street sidewalk after another couple winters. There's no heat, no AC, 98-year-old electrical and plumbing systems. The list goes on and on. But we felt that this 98-year-old building is an asset to the community of Bronzeville, and it's through the SBIF grant that we got a critical piece of capital so that we could complete this project. And through that, Omni and SBIF are really helping to reinvest in Bronzeville. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Molly. We'll go ahead and move forward with the presentation. Okay, so today we will discuss the maximum grant amounts that are allowed under the SBIF program rules. So $250,000 is a maximum assistance per industrial property. $150,000 is a maximum assistance for every single commercial owner or tenant property or landlord. $250,000 max may be granted per multiple owners or tenants of commercial properties with a maximum of $75,000 of assistance per tenant or the landlord if they both apply. So the applicants can receive one or more grants up to the maximum program assistance. Once this maximum is reached, the applicants will need to wait 3 years to reapply. Your reimbursement percentage will vary. It will be determined according to your applicant type, and we'll discuss this a little bit further as we go. So if you are a commercial business, you are a tenant in the property, your reimbursement percentage will be based on your gross sales or gross receipts if you are a non-for-profit. So for sales or receipts within $0 to $3 million, you'd qualify for a 90% reimbursement. Between $3 to $6 million, you'd qualify for 60% reimbursement, and between $6 and $9 million, you'd be eligible for 30% reimbursement. So if you're a commercial business, either in landlord, you own both the property and the business, we will also take a look at your net worth and liquidity. So if your net worth falls between 0 and 3 million, you'd qualify for 90% reimbursement. If the net worth is between 3 to 6 million, you'd qualify for 60% reimbursement. And net worth between 6 to 9 million, you'd be eligible for a 30% reimbursement. And the liquidity cap per individual is $500,000. For commercial businesses that are owner occupied, you also own the property. Please note that we will take a look at both the sales and the net worth requirements. And, if you fall within 30% reimbursement on one end and 60% reimbursement on the other, we'd have to take the lesser of the two. If it's an industrial business, if you both either own if you own the building or if you're a tenant, you would automatically qualify for 50% reimbursement as long as you have 200 or fewer full-time employees. Here's an example of a grant calculation. So Grace submits an application for the SBIF program in an open district. Her total eligible costs are $100,000. She is proposing to make a permanent building improvement to her existing retail shop for which she's a tenant. So let's say Grace has been in business for 5 years. Over the last 3 years, her gross sales averaged $1.5 million. So here's a breakdown of her eligible costs. So if her total project costs are $100,000 as a tenant with gross sales under $3 million, she'd qualify for 90% reimbursement. Therefore, the city would be responsible for dispersing $90,000, and the applicants will then be responsible for putting in their $10,000, which is a 10% that they would be required to put in. So does your business or your property qualify for the program? So in order to determine this, we suggest that you visit our website. You can click here, confirm whether or not your business is in a SBIF district. That will take you to the City of Chicago's Department of Zoning's map. Once you get there, you will enter your address here in this section. Once the address is entered, please be sure that you click on the actual PIN that pertains specifically to your property address. The boundaries here are very specific, so we want to make sure that you are searching for the proper documentation or for the proper information, rather, to make sure that your property's info comes up. So here you can see the tax increment financing TIF district for that specific property is 79th Street corridor. So if you do not see tax increment financing here when you search your property, that means that it is not within a TIF district. So if it is within a TIF district, you can go back to the website and it'll let you know what TIF districts are open. So once you click here, you'll see the open districts for the current month, as well as a calendar for the remainder of the year that shows the districts that will be opening up throughout the entire year of 2021. Who can apply for SBIF? So both business and property owners can apply if they're in districts within the City of Chicago that are currently accepting applications. So if you are a business owner, you can either own or lease the property. Landlords of commercial or industrial properties can also apply. And keep in mind that a City of Chicago business license will be required, not for the landlord, but for the business that will be operating out of that space. So for a commercial business that's owner occupied, your annual sales must be less than $9 million. For industrial businesses that are owner occupied, you must have 200 or fewer full-time equivalent employees. For landlords, the property owners must have a combined net worth that does not exceed $9 million, and total liquid assets cannot exceed $500,000. This requirement shall also apply to industrial businesses that lease any portion of their property to third-party tenants that do not share any common ownership with the business. So if you're a tenant, the annual sales must be less than $9 million with express prior property owner approval. So there is an affidavit that needs to be completed by the landlord, just basically stating that they give you approval to do renovations to their property. So what businesses and organization types are ineligible to apply? So this is a list. It's not all inclusive of some of the businesses that do not qualify. They do include chain and franchise businesses, bake branches, currency exchange, liquor stores, tobacco dealers. You know, it's not all inclusive, so you can take a look. If you're not sure, you can always give us a call and we'll let you know whether or not the business qualifies for the program. What improvement costs are eligible for SBIF funding? So some of the items that we can cover with this program are roofing and facade, structural components of signages, alterations or structures that are needed for ADA compliance. For example, if you need to install a ramp, if you need to widen the doors to the restroom, you need to create ADA accessible restrooms, those items are covered through the program. HVAC and other mechanical systems, plumbing and electrical work, certain projects that are related to architectural and construction management fees. So those can be included as well, as long as the project is fully completed. Permanent interior renovations, including fixtures. And also the purchase of the adjacent property, only if you're using it for expansion of the business itself or for parking lot renovations. Again, it's not comprehensive, so if you're looking to do something and it's not listed here, please feel free to send us an email or give us a call and we'll be able to clarify whether or not it would qualify. So what improvement costs are ineligible for SBIF funding? So some of the items that we cannot cover are new construction, whether it's an addition or an expansion from the existing perimeter or ground up. We cannot cover any new construction, any standalone minor repairs or cosmetics. If you simply just want a new coat of paint or just new flooring, just to give it a nice, new fresh look, that we can't do unless it's part of an extensive gut renovation. We can cover those items. Any equipment related expenses, such as kitchen appliances, computers, and office furniture, anything that can be easily taken out of the building will not be eligible for reimbursements. We don't cover any planters surrounding or affixed to the building, fencing, parking lot construction or repairs, landscaping, or work on interior of residential units. What are the SBIF design requirements? In order to receive funding, you must conform to the design requirements provided by DPD. So we do have the guidelines available for you. You are strongly advised to consult with Summer Corps and the design professionals on design requirements and guidelines before you draw up the plans, just to make sure that everything is in line with the design guidelines and make sure that it will be covered. All applicants who are commercial property applicants, if you are approved for a grant at $25,000 or greater, you shall be required to make at least one exterior improvement using at least 10% of the maximum grant amount. So there could be a waiver provided in this case if the building was recently updated, if it's in really good condition and there are no exterior requirements, exterior work to be done, the City of Chicago can provide a waiver if it's deemed applicable in this case, and if the work that's being completed is sufficient enough to move forward. So what measures are in place to ensure that the applicant is in compliance with the program rules? So we do checks to make sure that everyone is free of debt to the City of Chicago. So we make sure that there's no parking debt, administrative hearings, water bills. If something happens to come up, we'll give you a chance to pay that off before we move forward. If you're a property owner, you do have to be current on property taxes, and also everyone must comply with child support laws. Each applicant will also sign an economic disclosure affidavit. The grantees will be required to sign an affidavit certifying that you will not relocate outside of the TIF or sell the business within a 3-year period following the disbursement of funds. So if in case of the reimbursement for land ownership, you do have to provide the actual proof of ownership to the property before we can move forward with the reimbursement. How do you apply? So you can download a copy of the application at summercorps.com/SBIF. So to apply, you can complete the application and email it over to spiff@summercorps.com within the designated open period. So please make sure that your property is located within the TIF district that's currently open, and also make sure that you pay very close attention to the current deadlines. There's certain days and also time cutoffs at 5 p.m. So make sure that you get it in within that time frame. What is the SBIF program timeline? So once we begin the process of moving forward with your application, you'll be entered into stage 1. So the applicant supplies any missing information to complete their application. You'll be granted 20 days to submit these items. If everything is deemed eligible and ready to move forward, then you'd be placed into stage 2, which is the construction planning phase, where we would request your plans, bids, specifications, if necessary, make sure that all of your debts are cured. So you'd have 120 days to address these items here. So please note that stage 1 and 2 must be completed prior to approval of the grant funds. So the applicant then will move into stage 3. You would have to provide the proof of financing in order to move forward with the project. So we request at least 50% of the total project cost to show that it is available to you. That can be either a bank statement or a commitment letter from a lender, just stating that the funds are available to you to move forward with the process. So that proof of financing requirements will be 120 days going forward from the date that you've been approved. And then you would have a total of up to 10 months to complete the construction or to purchase the land if that is what your approval is for. So then once everything is complete, we have all the payment documents. We move into stage 4, where we submit the documentation for reimbursement, and that process usually takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So unless DPD grants an extension of time, if applicants do not complete each stage within the required time phrase, they will be limited or disqualified. So there is a maximum of 2 extensions that may be granted with DPD's approval only in cases of unavoidable delays due to extraordinary circumstances. So they may on a case-by-case basis grant an extension if they deem it eligible, and they will be the ones to determine what the appropriate time frame for that extension will be. What is required to deem a project completed and receive funds? So once the project is complete, we do ask for proof of payments, and that will include a sworn statement, invoices, canceled checks, and final waivers of lien. We also do a site visit before the construction has started and after, and we do document that with pictures. So you do have to, I'm sorry, I just have something on my screen here that does not seem to move out of the way. My apologies. So yeah, once we get everything in, that's a permit. So you have to submit the permit as well. So once everything is in, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for the grant reimbursement to be available to you. That's if it's non-escrow project. So what resources are available to you? There's plenty of resources available. Summer Corps team, delegate agencies, DPD. You can always visit our website. We have the lottery results posted, design guidelines, a list of lenders, a list of contractors that have worked with SBIF recipients in the past. So please feel free to visit our website for more information and resources. Get to know your local delegate agency. So these organizations are assisting small business owners just like yourself and also landlords. So feel free to reach out to these organizations for assistance. If you need, if you have questions, you can go to them. If you need assistance in completing the application materials, please feel free to contact them directly. They are familiar with the SBIF program, and they'll be more than happy to assist moving forward. So for February, these are the districts that are currently open. We are accepting applications through March 3rd at 5 p.m. That is the cutoff time here. So the districts that are open for February include 35th and Halsted, 71st and Stony Island, Commercial Avenue, West Woodlawn, and Woodlawn. So again, these applications must be received prior to the deadline, which is March 3rd at 5 p.m. The applications can be sent via email, regular mail, UPS, FedEx, or fax. So here we have a map showing the districts that are currently open. Again, they include 35th and Halsted, West Woodlawn, 71st and Stony, and Commercial Avenue. Here we have a nice project to show you with before and after pictures. So Mangololo International is actually the landlord of the property who applied for the SBIF program to build it out for the tenant. So this is a nice little ice cream shop here. The tenant is Icy Honey. So this here is a work summary of the items that were completed at the space, just to give you an idea of some of the items that we cover. We did the new storefront installation, exterior masonry work, demolition and repairs, interior demo, framing, restroom build-outs, installation of new flooring, painting, finish work, HVAC, plumbing, electrical units, as well as permits and architectural costs that were covered through this program. So here we have a few before pictures before the construction started. Again, we do site visits to document what the condition of the property is before you move forward with the grant. And also once the work is complete, we do a final site visit to confirm that the work has already been completed and everything is done. So here we have the after pictures. Drastic difference here. It looks beautiful. So what additional documents should I have on hand to submit along with the application? So here we give you an idea of what items will be requested. So they do vary depending on what applicant type you are, but you have these documents here available to you when you're looking to submit your application. Feel free to submit those items with the application. Otherwise, once we move you to stage 1, you'll have 20 days to submit these items. This is just to give you a head start on getting prepared for some of the items that we request as part of the application. What are the financial requirements to participate in the SBIF program? So keep in mind that the SBIF is a reimbursable grant, so the project's participants should be prepared with financing to support the building improvements. Again, it's not required that you submit your proof of financing until stage 3, but you're encouraged to contact your lender, or you can also reach out to some of the lenders that are familiar with the SBIF program. Again, that list is on our website at summercorps.com/SBIF. It is time consuming to obtain the loan. So, I would suggest that you get started with that sooner rather than later. We don't want to use your time for, the construction phase for you to obtain the financing. So the sooner the better. And grantees can choose to receive their grants through an escrow account. DPD at its sole discretion may authorize up to 3 draws of funding from the escrow to reimburse the applicants, and also as work is being completed to pay out directly to the contractors. So any fees that are associated with the use of the escrow account will be taken out of the grant award. Are startups or new businesses eligible? Yes, startups can apply. Startup applicants will need to supply a detailed business plan and projections of income and expenses for at least the next 3 years. Please note that the City of Chicago does reserve the right to impose additional conditions for funding in connection with startups. So if you've only been in business for 1 or 2 years, we do require tax returns for at least 3 years. So in lieu of the 3-year period, we would ask for business plan, any available tax returns that you have on hand, and also projections of the gross sales to equal the 3 years of the data. So are you eligible if you live outside of the City of Chicago? So the important thing to consider here is where your business or property is located. So in order to participate in the SBIF program, you are not required to live within the City of Chicago, but the property that you're looking to renovate must be located within a specific district that we cover that is authorized for SBIF. So what if my business has both business and residential spaces? So there are exemptions for mixed-use buildings. So it's primarily for business use. We do not cover any residential units, but there's an exception. So these types of businesses or properties, rather, we can cover the envelope of the building. So we can cover roofing, facade, size of the building, and also the interior of the commercial spaces. So will there be enough SBIF funds for applicants? So each TIF district varies with the amount of funding that's authorized. It does have limited funding that's reserved for the program. So if the demand is greater than what's available, then we conduct a lottery. The lottery is conducted just to determine the order in which the grant applications will be accommodated. So if any surplus funds become available, they will be allocated to the waitlist applicants. So for applications that are in the Invest Southwest area, those will have priority in the lottery. So any areas that are in the Invest Southwest target corridors, those will have secondary. I'm sorry about that, excuse me. Yeah, so the target corridors will be second in line for the lottery, and the properties that are not within the Invest Southwest areas, those will have their own separate lottery as well. Is there SBIF funding available in my district? So again, every SBIF district has its own budget. The city refills it if TIF funds are available and if there's demonstrated need for grant money. So you can always email us to see if there's any SBIF funds in your area. We do also maintain an interested party list for funds, which you can also send us an email to join. So if you're interested and the district's not open, we'll place you on an interested party list, and as a courtesy, we'll send you an email to notify you of when there's an opportunity for you to apply. So this also helps the City of Chicago gauge demand for additional funding. So what if you are in a TIF and it is not a SBIF? So if it's not a SBIF, we would not be able to move forward with the application. You can contact your alderman to see how they can allocate funding so that the SBIF program will be available in your area. So here we have contact information. Again, my name is Silvia Orozco and I do speak Spanish. So if you or anyone you know speaks Spanish, feel free to have them give me a call if they feel more comfortable speaking in their native language. We also have Savannah Allen on the team, Anastasia Williams, Shalonda Fisher, Kim Brisky, and also Nora from the City of Chicago's Department of Planning and Development, who's our liaison that administers the SBIF program, or I'm sorry, is the SBIF program director with DPD. So a copy of the presentation and the link to the video will be emailed to you. So now we are able to go ahead and get started with questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Sylvia, so much. I appreciate it. Just to give you a second, as a reminder to everybody here, if you would like to ask a question, I encourage you to submit it in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. A few additional reminders for resources for everybody. Again, we can't say the website address enough times. www.somercor.com/SPIF. That's a great resource for everything. That's where you're going to find all of the links to the lending partners that can assist, the technical assistance providers, delegate agencies, as well as the application, finding out when your district is going to be open. As Sylvia mentioned, all of the districts that are already scheduled to be open in 2021 are listed on that page. You're encouraged to check that out. I think, Sylvia, one of the questions we got, and I just think it's always worth repeating, is just if you could clarify again about the fact that this is not available for residential projects, multifamily housing, things like that, but how mixed use projects would work.
Okay, so with the mixed use properties, we can cover the envelope, basically the shell of the building. We can cover the facade, the sides, the roof of it, and the interior of the commercial spaces only. So we would not cover any common use areas with the residential units or interior residential spaces.
Great. Another question that we have received is obviously at this point, there are a lot of different projects that are, funding opportunities for folks in the city of Chicago. What if somebody is interested in participating or applying in both the neighborhood opportunity?
Are you still there, Kim?
Well, something happened with Kim. This is Nora. I think she was going to ask, what if somebody's interested in applying for both the SBIF and the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund? And they're not sure, they're not sure which one to apply for, or they don't want to lose their chance to apply for either one.
Okay, so in this case, I would advise that you submit an application for both. We will not be able to proceed with both applications, but at a certain point, we will be able to let you know whether or not you've been approved for the NOF program, and then you will be able to make a decision then on what will benefit you more, whether you'd want to move forward with the NOF program or the Small Business Improvement Fund program. But keep in mind that we cannot allow both applications to be active at the same time.
There have been a couple of questions, Sylvia, about whether tenants can apply for the program.
Yes, absolutely. So tenants are eligible to apply. We do ask that you have a minimum of a 3-year term on your lease going forward. And that's basically to protect you as a tenant. What we don't want is for the landlord to, say, okay, thank you very much. You fixed up my place, and now I'm going to lease it to someone else at a higher rate. So tenants are eligible. We require a minimum of a 3-year term and also an owner affidavit completed by the landlord, which gives you the authority to make the changes to their property.
There's a question. This is the first time we're applying for SBIF. Will SummerCore help walk us through the process? Can you talk a little bit about how the process works and what kind of support they might expect from SummerCore and maybe from their delegate agencies or other technical assistance? We've added some technical assistance from other sources as well. Maybe you can talk about the architects and contract managers and construction managers.
Okay, so Summer Core is available throughout the entire process from the start to finish. You know, if you are unclear on how to move forward, Summer Core will guide you on what documentations you will need, you know, what the requirements are. You know, we're here throughout the entire process to help you along with everything. So your project managers here to assist you. The delegate agencies are available to assist you. And we also have technical assistance providers. So once you get approved and you're moving forward to your construction phase, we highly suggest that you contact the technical assistance providers before you get started with anything to make sure that you are in compliance with the design guidelines and the goals for the program itself. So they are all available to you as well as Summer Core. So, you know, if you have any questions, if there's any doubts, you know, if you're hesitant about something, you know, I've been doing this for 15 years and I've walked so many people through it and had so many people say, well, if it wasn't for you, I would have never done this. So we are here to help and guide you along throughout the whole process.
I would also, this is Nora again, I would also very much suggest that you take advantage of the architects we will reimburse for architectural assistance. That is something that SBIF is eligible for, or that is an eligible cost under SBIF. And folks like that, as well as the delegate agencies, the folks from South Chicago Friends and South Shore Chamber and South Loop, the folks who are listed, I've left someone out, but they were listed in the presentation. Sunshine Gospel Ministries, I believe, is who I left out. All of those people are here to help you. We can connect you with them as well. You can reach out to me and Sylvia or anybody at Summer Core. We will help connect you to those folks. We are all here to provide you with assistance and make the connections, the kind of referrals that you need, whether it be for business support, help you to clear up any SCAFLA issues, help you to make business plans, or to think through the kind of project you want to do. One thing that can really help you is perhaps you know that you need to do some tuck pointing, but you might also be able to use SBIF to reconsider your storefront and bring more customers to your facility and bring more profit as well, or maybe make some changes. Maybe with COVID, you've rethought how you want to approach things and you have the opportunity to use SBIF to do that. So we really want you to consider how design can work in and to help you make more money. So think about that as you're considering your project as well.
Thank you for that, Nora. And just to reiterate, so we do cover soft costs such as architectural cost, engineering cost, and also permit cost that are pertaining to the specific scope of work that you are looking to get approval for. So keep in mind that in order for these items to be covered, the project must be complete. So if you get to the point where you have your architectural drawings, you know, you receive the permits, but you didn't move forward with the project, please note that we will not reimburse you unless the project is fully complete. Any more questions, Nora?
I'm not seeing anything yet.
Okay, so I do want to also provide this information here as additional federal small business support. And this information will also be available in the packets that will be emailed over to you. Okay. And that here concludes today's presentation. So if we don't have any more questions, Nora?
I'm sorry, we do have one question.
Okay.
Somebody asked, I thought earlier it was stated you could get reimbursed as the project is progressing. Could you talk about how the different ways to get reimbursed, how that works?
Yes, so we can reimburse on various phases. So let's say, for example, you get approved for a roofing project, facade and interior renovation. So let's say you don't have all the money up front available to you. You can break it out in up to 3 phases. So you get approved for all of the work. Let's say you really need to get your roof fixed. So you go ahead, submit your documentation for your roof. You submit all of your payment documents, get that work fully completed. You submit for reimbursement, you get your reimbursement based off of what you qualify for. You can then use that reimbursement to move forward with the facade renovations. So once the facade is complete, you can submit your payment documentations for that. That reimbursement will then be used for your interior renovations. So we can break it out in up to 3 phases. For startups, that is a little bit different. So if you are a startup, you will be required to have a City of Chicago business license issued at the project property before we can fully disperse the funds. But in order to assist you throughout the process, what we can do is we can disperse up to 50% of the total grant amount, as long as at least, 60, 70% of the project is complete at that point. We'll reimburse you up to 50%. And once you get that City of Chicago business license issued and the work is fully complete, we can then disperse the remaining funds.
Does all work need to be completed in the 10-month plan?
Yes. Unless you're granted an extension by DPD under certain, extraordinary circumstances, we do require that the work is completed within a 10-month time frame.
Going back to the funding, can the 50% of funds needed be for each phase, or all 3 phases combined?
That would need to be for all 3 phases combined.
I'm sorry, you talked about escrow, yes?
I did talk briefly about escrow. So an escrow option will be available. We could, in those situations, the city will disperse their percentage depending on what you qualify for, whether it's 30, 60, or 90%. And then you would be responsible for putting your funds into that escrow account. And then the funding will be dispersed directly to the contractors. So that will be available in the future. So keep in mind that we don't do the phase breakout, as I mentioned earlier, with the escrow account. That's a little bit different.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's just give people a few more questions, a few more minutes to see if anybody's typing any questions, or if, and then we'll finish up. We do want to reiterate, of course, we will send out the presentation. It will be available on YouTube, and then we definitely encourage you to, with any follow-up questions, to follow up with any of us, and definitely reach out to your local representatives who will be able to support you with your application, answer any questions, and help you make connections with referrals and other things that you might need to be ready to submit your application and follow through with your project. We are excited to work with you.
We really are. So please use our website as a resource for any additional information, technical assistance providers, a list of lenders, as well as a list of contractors that are familiar with the program.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for attending.
Yes, thank you very much. So you should be receiving that packet within 24 to 48 hours via email. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And again, just visit our website for more resources available to you. Thank you very much for your time.